Hey Luke, it's Buddha Gem, and I'm going to try to address some of the things you said. My philosophy can justify insanely immoral acts. Can you just point me in the direction of where I am advocating any insanely immoral acts, or any, modern anarchist organizations are doing that? I mean, that just sounds like hyperbole to me. It makes no sense. You obviously have no respect for it. That's fine. But you're basically saying I'm an idiot. So I'd just like you to reconsider that point, and I'll go on and address the rest of the things you said. The labor power thing, you act like I just don't understand because this is, what fancy economists are, this term they came up with. What I'm telling you is when your average American citizen doesn't understand that they're being rented like we rent a car or rent a house. When you tell an average American, hey, how much do you rent yourself for? They don't know what to say. They think they have a job, and they're, we just, we rationalize these things in so many different ways. We are rented by the hour. It's a form of slavery. Okay, and the economists and these market anarchists who come up with these fancy little, oh, I sell my labor power. No, you don't sell your labor power. It's not that I don't understand the concept. It's you don't understand the reality. The reality is you don't sell labor power. The reality is you sell yourself on the market, and you rent yourself for as much as you can to the highest bidder. That's the system we live in. That's the reality. You rent humans. And we have a minimum wage, which means there is a minimum that you must pay in order to rent a human in our society. That's reality, okay? What you're talking about is euphemistic bullshit speech that doesn't mean anything in the real world, okay? The reality is we do rent ourselves. The reality is it is a form of slavery, okay? I do understand it in economic terms, and what you don't, it's just complete bullshit, okay? Libertarian perfection, you go on to say, a lot of us believe that, who believes in perfection? That I mean, really, what is perfection? As a libertarian socialist, I believe it's a correct way to interpret and to move forward. Do I believe it's perfect? Of course not. Any glance at human knowledge, we realize that we continue to learn and expand and learn. I expect the same in the future. I have no delusions about perfection. And this idea that you go on to say that it would require a uniform society that spans the globe. I don't know where you get this. You act like we're going to, form a libertarian socialist society and then continue, we have to expand. Like there's some imperial catalyst inherent in anarchism or socialism. I don't understand. Most of the examples that I can give you are rather small in scale, with the exception of maybe the Spanish Civil War. In fact, for most of anarchist history, I'd just like to point out, the fundamental criticism has been that anarchism could only work in very small, groups of very small groups. So you're kind of flipping that on its head, saying the only way it'd work is if it expanded the whole globe. So I don't think either one really holds any water in light of the historical examples. Do I respect independence? Of course I respect liberty and freedom, and I want you to be as free as you possibly can, Luke. Okay? And then you go on, and I don't even know what the heck you're asking here. Let's see. Denying access to property denies people their positive property rights or positive rights. Two different schools of thought, and you get into this whole thing about it's all open to interpretation. Luke, life is open to interpretation. Do you think Murray Rothbard just brought some stone tablets down from God and this is how it's going to be? I mean, he wrote whatever it is you believe that he wrote that is, to be implemented. Whatever he wrote is open to interpretation, okay? You're going to have to interpret the books he read. And others, market anarchists, are going to have to interpret the writings he left. Okay, everything's open to interpretation. You act like that's some death blow to a philosophy. There's no philosophy, there's no religion that is not open to interpretation, okay? That's the reality of life. There's no such thing as an uninterpreted fact, okay? We don't have some place we can go and, unsullied from bias and hopes and dreams and histories, that we can look at the world, okay? So, this idea that, it's all open to interpretation, yeah, that's the idea. Free people making rational choices without any external restraints on them. Yeah, and they may lead to different things, and it's open to their interpretation. It's not a bad thing, okay? And your market anarchism is just as open to interpretation, okay? Unless, of course, you think Murray Rothbard was inspired by God. And then, I guess what you're saying was you either have a right to defend property or you don't have a right to defend property. You can correct me if I misunderstood you. I really just don't think you understand the concept. Fundamentally, how you're protecting your property in an anarchist society is by using it. Like if you're riding your bike down the street, chances are pretty slim that somebody's going to knock you off your bike to take it from you and go riding down the street. Yeah, you'd have the right to defend yourself, but primarily your mode of defense is by using that property. That land, that machine. You have some tool, some big machine. You go into work every day and you squish the widget or whatever you do to the widget. You're protecting it by using it. Some other cat rolls up and wants to use that machine. You're there. What's he gonna do? He's gonna head off. Okay, that's how you protect it. It's not two different schools of thought. It's just a more perhaps nuanced understanding of property than you're willing to realize. You go on it later on. You go on violent, immoral, all the crazy stuff that libertarian socialism can lead to. The money is a means for evil. I know I couldn't have said that because I really, I'm very reluctant to use the word evil. And it wasn't a criticism of your free market ideology. It was a illustration of a realistic example. The idea is that, like you said, yeah, depending on the system, I mean, a rational system could come up with a very different way of implementing a monetary system, whether it be free market or social libertarian or communist or whatever. The idea that a monetary system is inherently neutral, though, is naive, because in our current system it's anything but neutral, and it depends on the society. So no, it wasn't a criticism of you. And I do know what I'm talking about, believe it or not. You may find that hard to believe. I don't know. But really, I wasn't out to criticize you or your beliefs, but to try to maybe bridge this gap in dialogue, because while you're thinking I'm not understanding you, I'm just as certain you're not understanding me. So that's what I'm about. I'm not here to win, but maybe advance the dialogue to where we figure out where we meet and where we, part. I don't know. It's up to you. Peace.